I really do want to talk about what it is that happened last night because I assume only Miami thinks that that is a good and fun thing. I'm going to assume that today, all over the media, you will get people fervently, passionately, and religiously protecting the honor of the late Kobe Bryant by feeling like Bam Adebayo's name doesn't belong beyond Kobe Bryant in scoring in a game. So the first thing I want to ask you guys is, ridiculous though this is, Bam Adebayo scores 83 points in a game. Is that the single best performance by a Miami Heat player in Heat history? Yes or no?
No.
Are you kidding me?
Not remotely close to a GOAT performance.
Not remotely
No.
close?
Are you people talking about?
And look,
No, he's right. Let him cook.
Let me say, like, you take in context. This is a proud franchise that has played plenty of important games, that have had incredible performances in marquee games. Off the top of the dome, Jimmy Butler, Game 5 in the bubble, going shot for shot with LeBron James
Butler
to the
Game
point of
6
exhaustion.
in 23.
Regular season is what I was talking about. This is the greatest regular season performance in Heat history. Not close. It's the GOAT.
So regular season versus postseason. You guys didn't even mention LeBron Game 6 in Boston is the single
That's the one.
greatest performance in Miami Heat single season, single game history.
Yeah, we were leaving the GOAT to you.
This GOAT conversation is presented by Frank's Red Hot. Make every dish the greatest. Eat the GOAT.
But last night, something happened with Heat basketball that I believe is going to be found offensive by basketball purists, by the nation at large. It is only going to be celebrated here. Let's get some of the criticism that is just rolling in from last night. Here is Rockets coach Ime Udoka.
I don't know if you saw that Bam Adebayo had 83 points tonight. I'm sure you know Bam. What are your thoughts on that and such a historic night?
Yeah, I mean, first thing you think is how, because of, not because of him, but because of the way he plays, and I saw only made 6 threes, but 40 free throws or something like that. Tells the story right there. And the Washington Wizards.
That's such a good side swipe at the end.
I mean, it's true. When I saw it was 43 free throw attempts, I was like, what?
Yeah, which was shocking enough. But then the pause, ellipsis, Washington Wizards.
The crazy part is that they were all legitimate fouls. Like at the end, no.
I mean, sure. Yes. Okay. Sure.
What? What do you
They did touch him.
They hacked him. Like,
Yeah.
he took the ball late in the game after playing all those minutes, drove in, and got hacked. Like, the ability to escape with 4 minutes left in the game, they started triple teaming him, and he's getting out of
Jeremy,
that.
he was playing like Marshawn Lynch. He was just grabbing the ball and running through 4 people to try and get something in.
There was that one time that Eric Reed touted his unselfishness. But he passed the ball. Can you believe it?
Wait a minute. No, it's better than that, Mike, because it was I wrote it down because it was the single funniest thing in the entire broadcast, funnier than even the challenges at the end. No, the funniest thing in the broadcast is what I'm about to read because this is an exact quote from Eric Reed. Late in the third quarter, Bam, who's being now triple teamed on fadeaway jumpers, okay? Because the Wizards are just like, this is embarrassing enough. We're going to put 4 guys on him. Eric Reed says, and they at this point, because there's no Tyler Hero, because there's no Norman Powell, because there's no Wiggins, okay? They are spending the entire broadcast talking about someone in Bam who they've talked about for 9 years. So they've gone to the reservoir bank of, he's such a good person so many times. Like he's a good player, but he's even better as a person. Like they've talked about this human being so much for 9 years. They don't have anything to say and they can't talk about any of the players. But this is what Eric Reed has said. In fact, I'm going to stop for a second and give you the second funniest thing that he said, because the second funniest thing he said was another timeout for the helpless Washington Wizards. I have empathy for them. That's something that he actually said. But the thing that he said that was the funniest is Bam didn't get greedy. He passed it to an open teammate. That's the essence of your captain. It was his second assist in the game. He was already at 70 points and had taken 37 shots. He had taken 37 shots, and there were 70 guys on him. There were Wizards from the past. Rod Strickland ran on the court and was guarding him there.
I saw Calvert Chaney.
So what happened in the end of that game, the last 5 minutes ruined it the way that it's going to be nationally perceived. So let's get to some more sound, because here's J.J. Redick talking about Bam Adebayo and protecting Kobe's legacy.
It's incredible what he was able to do. I walked in and I saw the score. He was at the free throw line, and I saw the score, and they've been playing great basketball lately. And I said to my coaching staff, "Oh, he's rolling." And they all kind of looked at each other. They're like, "Are you kidding right now?" I was like, "No, what's up?" They're like, they're 36 and 28, or whatever they are. They're getting ready to be 37 and 28. And there was no, Bam has 77. And I was like, "Huh?" And then I watched the last 3 minutes, and that was a different type of basketball.
Let's go to Robert Ory, also going to protect some of Kobe Bryant's legacy here. There's going to be a lot of this today.
83 from Bam Adebayo.
Oh, my goodness. That's one of those things you have to see. I heard 43 shots, 43 free throws. I'm like, and then I saw some highlights. If y'all noticed when the show came back, I was looking at the highlights of Bam. I'm like, let me just say this. 83 points is impressive. But it gets to a point where you have to respect the game. And I think there was moments in this game where it was not respected, but still, though, 83 points is a lot. I appreciate the effort. And it's going to go down as we know, second most of the game. But it's like you always say on certain things, just have an asterisk by it. I'm putting an asterisk by this one. But it's still a lot. I'm not taking away from anything, Bam. It's a lot.
I didn't think I'd be saying this today, but put both of these things on the poll. Is 83 points impressive, and is 83 points a lot? Put both of those on the poll. And here is Tim McMahon, an outraged podcaster, giving voice, I'm sure, to what a lot of people will be saying today.
You are he's jacking up threes while being triple teamed. I mean, it honestly was just awful, hideous, disgusting basketball down the stretch that I admit I was cracking up laughing while watching, but I never, ever, 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 ever want to hear about heat culture and professionalism and all that crap again, because that was the most blatant stat chasing I've ever seen. That honestly is the worst stat chasing since Ricky Davis tried to get a rebound on the wrong basket to get a triple-double. But the difference is this was minutes and minutes and minutes and extended game stat chasing. So it was embarrassing for the Lizards, egregious for the Heat. But, hey, you got your 83. I enjoyed the ethical 39 by Wemby more than I enjoyed the egregious 83. But I'm old. I'm grumpy. I admit it.
All right, I mean, take it easy on the 30-plus years of Heat culture and hard work, and the reputation this franchise has all been flushed down the toilet because of a game against the Wizards. Can we slow down for a second?
The Lizards.
The Lizards. Can we slow down for a second? Tim McMahon's really good at what he does, but take it easy, all right? Look, this performance last night by Bam, and you heard a lot of it right there. I think you're going to hear, I think today is going to be rather ugly, the reaction. This performance is not going to be remembered fondly. It's just not. Part of it is...
By Heat fans, it will be.
Heat fans, it will be, and everyone in that building last night had a great time, and that's really important, okay? But this game is not going to be remembered fondly because the final, it was like 5 minutes or whatever, was a lot of bullshit. And I will tell you, the bullshit with the Wizards, okay? The Wizards were doing the bull.
No.
They're double. I've never seen it before. They're double and triple teaming Bam full court. Not even like an inbounds play in the front court. Full court, they're double and triple teaming in a game that the Heat are up by 25 points. And so then the Heat's response that is, okay, we're going to do bullshit and we're going to foul and so that we can get the ball back. And then we're going to, and the Wizards and the Heat are both going to challenge plays with under 2.5 minutes left. And Keyshawn Johnson is going to miss a free throw on purpose so that Bam can try and get the offensive rebound. Like, it was a lot of nonsense in the final few minutes that unfortunately I think is going to have people speaking about this performance in an extremely negative fashion, as we heard right there, when the reality of it is, for 3.5 quarters, Bam was incredible.
The first quarter was more impressive than the rest of the game to me. That first quarter is the best quarter I've ever seen a Heat player play. Any quarter, any time.
I mean, Tim McMahon comparing this to Ricky Davis trying to get his own rebound is just ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Man.
It's ridiculous.
Well, he's saying stat padding, and put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Are you okay with changing the name of the Washington Wizards to the Washington Lizards because they should have – actually, it should be the Washington Lizards because we should put L's where they have W's. I like that. I thought that was the best part of what Tim McMahon said. But I do want – to celebrate some portions of this in a way that is not sarcastic, okay? First of all, I hear so much about load management, and I hear so much about the players in that sport being not what you expect them to be. This guy playing that hard in a way that made his teammates so happy for him that at the end of it, they were all thrilled in basketball, where you guys make all of these guys selfish, so thrilled for this guy because they know specifically how hard he has worked and that his first 6 seasons in the league, he never in any season took as many threes as he took last night because he's improved his game, and we've all watched it. Now, you may think that this isn't a superstar. The standard was put in an absurd place by Wade and Shaq and LeBron and Bosh, and so this guy is criminally undervalued in this city because he's not good enough to win a championship by himself. But he is, based on where he's been drafted, the perfect example of Miami Heat culture, perhaps better than any we've ever had, because the Heat didn't develop Alonzo Mourning. They had to go get him from somebody else. This is a player that we saw come into this league super raw, and he's a pillar in this community, like represents this franchise in a wonderful way. But his name doesn't belong between Wilt and Kobe, and people are going to get really mad at how he got there because the previous 70-point performances, and he's also a victim of the distortion of basketball because all of the plus 60 games, a lot of them are in the last 5 years because people can shoot threes. So you've got, Dame going for 70, 14 free throws in a game. Luka going for 73, 16 free throws in a game. The Kobe game of 81, 20 free throws in the game. Embiid got 23 free throws in a 70-point game. But what they did last night that the Heat were enjoying does go against what they usually stand for because they did make a mockery out of basketball with the help of the Washington Wizards, who are not a professional basketball franchise. So careless with the ball in that first half. I was laughing at Tony last night while watching my television.
Wait a second. What are we doing about me? What I said had nothing to do with
You said the
outcome of this
Wizards
game.
were a
The
good
Lizards-
team.
The Lizards are heading in the right direction.
They closed that game to 10 at one point.
Before we go any further, though, let's examine the difference between how Miami is experiencing this and how the country is about to experience it, because I think the greatest indignity here against the respecting of basketball is that somebody who is beloved, who died in a helicopter, had 81 points and was rightfully second on a historic list, that basketball's distortions couldn't compromise. And the way this game was played last night was silly. Nobody goes to the game to watch a record number of free throws from a single player. 43 free throws. He made more free throws in a game than anyone ever has, and he took more free throws in a game than anyone ever has. And it's because they played him the entire second half, and the whole point of what everyone was doing, because they know the Heat are above average and the Wizards are historically bad, cannot win basketball games on the road at all. The Wizards exist basically to be the Washington Generals. Can we look up the record of the Washington Generals all time against the Harlem Globetrotters? Because that's what it felt like last night. You had everything. I expected at one point Bam to take a bucket of confetti and throw it at some kids in the first row, pretending it's a bucket of water because it's the signature Harlem Globetrotters move.
I would have preferred, knowing what we know now, and you knew this was going to be the reaction once the game ended. You knew that there was going to be a lot of venom based on not just passing Kobe Bryant, but also the way it went down, of course, the last few minutes. Knowing what we know now, like, I would have preferred that he left the game with like 5 or 6 minutes left. A game that was not in doubt anymore, and he had like 74 points or whatever like that, and we didn't get to the Wizards doing the nonsense and then the Heat responding with their own nonsense. I don't know what the crowd reaction would have been if they took Bam out in the middle of the fourth quarter. He had 74 points, so close, to Kobe Bryant.
You cannot care. You cannot care about what anyone else thinks. It's about the people in that huddle. It's not even about your customers.
Right, like Spo was in a weird spot because, Eric Spoelstra, you should take him out. Like, the game was in doubt. You got to have respect for the game. You have to do whatever Bam Adebayo wants in that spot. If he wants to stay in the game and go for the record, he stays in the game and goes for the record.
I thought it was fun, right? Like, you look around, it's like, this is something that is so out of character for Spo. Hey, foul him so he can get the shots. It's like, what you want to see from your coach is being behind the guy who's having this incredible
Do you think the Heat would have done that? Because you saw Spo was signaling for that. Would the Heat have done that? Would Eric Spoelstra have called for that if the Wizards weren't playing the way that they were playing?
No way.
My guess is no.
It all started, Bam was going to get there. Like, the way he was scoring and the way he was getting
incredible.
to the line naturally, he was going to get to this point, whether the Wizards,
Lizards.
if the Lizards had continued to play with the pace that the game had been going at before the final 4:30.
Why couldn't they just play him straight up like grown men?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Because he owned him.
With
That's
4
why.
minutes and 30 seconds left in the game, they started triple teaming him before he got the ball. And it was so funny because on the broadcast, Eric Reed said something to the effect of like, oh, well, pride is starting to kick in as they don't want him to chase the record.
Pride is starting to kick in. They have like 6 wins on the season.
John Crotty said, like, oh, my pride probably would have started kicking in somewhere around the middle of the third quarter as he had 60-something points. Like, it was crazy to see. And Eric Reed earlier in the game, not even talking about Bam, referring to the Lizards' defense as non-confrontational, which made Crotty laugh out loud. But the crazy part is Bam probably gets there on his own without all of this because of the way he was getting to the line.
You see,
and instead there's so much silliness that it doesn't make a difference, though. He still sets the record, and nobody is going to remember in the long run how.
Oh, I disagree with that.
No. You want to know why? Because do you know how Kobe did it?
I do know how he did it.
He took 13 of 17 shots for the Lakers in the fourth quarter. He took 7 free throws at the end to get to that record.
But also, do you want to point out that was a game that the Raptors were ahead most of the game, and Kobe said he led the Lakers to a comeback.
And then they were up by like 18 points.
But it's important.
With 5 minutes to go.
Well, but Saz, you remember
Bam needed to be in that game.
Saz,
it was a 12-point game. I'm sorry.
You remember the details on the Kobe-Toronto game. Jalen Rose certainly remembers the details. But when we criticize this, as many people will do, Udoka just did it. It happened against the Wizards. Nobody remembers who Wilt did it against. That does not matter.
Look, we're not sure that it actually happened.
That too. You mentioned John Crotty earlier. That wasn't the funniest thing about the broadcast with John Crotty. It was at one point in the first quarter where Eric Reed was like, and John, tell us what it feels like to be in a zone like this. And he's like, why? How would I know? how would I possibly know? I never had anything like that.
Yeah, the Kobe fan perspective, as you guys are highlighting, that was certainly an interesting prism to view this thing through. Beloved, I would say the one pushback that I would have, and Zaz made some good points, is that was also in Kobe's character. I think this is objectively hilarious that Bam Adebayo, of all people, when the whole thing around this player for his entire career is be more aggressive, decided, you know what, for once, I'm going to eat.
He averages 4.5 free throws a game.
For once, I'm going to be Spam Adebayo, and I'm going to make this happen for myself. And I'm glad that you mentioned the fans in that arena.
They looked like they were having the time of their life.
Yeah, I've been positioned as the Heat hater just because I think that this is another lost season that ends with them not getting out of the first round, and I will be right about that. But I think that, look, the Miami Heat, as Dwayne Wade, the face of this franchise, said, they needed a buzz. This town needed to be woken up. And Bam said that much in the postgame.
So did Spo.
Yeah, and he finally did something to wake this market up. I would say that both nationally and locally, and I'm afraid the ratings bear this out, this is as irrelevant as this basketball team, this proud basketball team has been, maybe ever. And God bless them for having that night and deciding, you know what, we're not going to be the culture, no fun team. We're going to have fun for the people in that building. Bam Adebayo, of all people, is going to go for this record.
Well, he's the perfect guy for the team.
And it was really enjoyable.
I have to stop, Mike, and I understand that through your narcissism is where you view everything. This is not the most irrelevant Heat team that there has ever been. That's a ridiculous thing to say. They still have that sold-out streak. The people in that arena did enjoy themselves, but Dwayne Wade does speak to something, and this pissed off the Heat. A lot of members of the Heat thought this was somebody outside, somebody going outside the family to criticize the family. Let's hear this sound from Dwayne Wade.
The city needs to be woken up. It's not alive no more. You know, when we was here, bro, it was buzzing in these streets. We've been here the last couple of days. Ain't nothing buzzing outside.
And nothing at all. I had to go home early.
Bro, I'm leaving too. I thought I was about to stay here. I'm getting out of here. There's no energy here.
Yeah.
And this city deserves and needs a person that can bring that energy here and take it over. It's no one's here.
He would take it over.
From that standpoint of that buzz and that energy. When he came, it changed the entire, the culture here shifted. When Brian and them came, so I felt it alive and I felt it buzzing. Then I've been out here the last couple of days. I'm sleepy.
I've been in the house smoking hookah watching
I'm
old
sleepy.
clips.
I mean, look who's talking there. What an impossible standard. Like, what are they talking about? There's no awareness of who they are as they say that.
No. Again, doubling down, it is the most irrelevant the franchise has been for an extended period of time. Don't cherry pick one bad year where they came back the very next year. Don't cherry pick bad years in which they had Dwayne Wade, one of the best players in the league, on their team and an asset you knew that you could build around. They're irrelevant. The national games bear this out. The local ratings bear this out. This is the least interesting this team has been for an extended period of time in franchise history. Full point. That is fact.
No, it isn't, Mike.
What? Give me a worse 3-year stretch.
Mike, start in the 80s.
They were an expansion team that people were getting excited about.
Before Pat Riley got here, there's a block of time where they were wildly irrelevant.
I watched a bunch of those games. They had G-Money. They had teams that were fighting for playoff spots. They're right in that zone.
You're the local Heat basketball historian. Who's right on this?
Mike.
You think this is the most irrelevant they've been in their franchise's history?
Mike, you need to amend that statement to at the very least, and we can have the discussion, I don't even know if I agree with it then, but at the very least you have to amend the statement to since Pat Riley got here.
Okay, I mean, it's 3 years.
I mean, they're trying to have
remember
Kevin
those
Willis
90s
and
years.
Billy Owens. Come on.
And that team made the playoffs and was out in the first round a couple of times, the same fate that this team
I'm not
was.
doing this with you today. You think they're irrelevant. You've stopped watching them, and so
Fine.
everyone has. I get it. It all happens the way
why am I being attacked here? Why am I being attacked here? Like, I've barely spoken.
This is not the way.
I want Jeremy to get in here, and you frame everything through the prism of my narcissism. Get out of here. All right, this was a fun night for South Florida.
You get out of here.
Oh, Jesus Christ. A guy calls you out on it and gets sent away. Jeremy, by all means, I
Minor
want
penalty,
you
2
to
minutes.
go.
Murdering the show with their bare hands and a dismemberment kit in cold blood.
Wow.
Bull.
This is not the day for your negativity on the Miami Heat.
Wow.
I will say, I do think that the 3-year span that he's talking about maybe isn't exactly right, but I appreciate his support and in the fact that we should just be celebrating this moment together rather than parsing the details of a 3-year span because that was a 3-year span. Like the first year he's talking about, they were coming off of a finals appearance, so they obviously were not irrelevant. They were the defending Eastern Conference champions. But this night, last night, happening for Bam Adebayo is special for a combination of reasons because not only is he the only player that Spo would do that for, right? Like he's doing that for his captain because of everything Bam has been, because of everything he's worked himself into. But he passed the 10,000 point threshold with the Heat the game before. And what he talked about is it's not bad for a guy who was drafted to be a defender and a lob threat. Like he has worked himself and like you mentioned,
he was supposed to be Clint Capella.
Yeah. At best, like you were hoping he was Clint Capella. And the fact that he has developed himself into a player with the skill set to be able to reach 83 points. If 83 points was so easy and it could be done in this unethical way, then Steph Curry would have done it, or LeBron would have done it, or Kevin Durant would have done it.
You're right.
I don't care who you're playing.
No.
Kobe Bryant did his 81 points against a team that lost 55 games.
People have been criticizing the Wizards, and throughout basketball history, there have been a lot of bad teams, and no one has put up 83 against any of them except one player ever. But if anyone in the league with their number one option played the way the Heat were playing toward the end of that game, there are many players in that league who could have gotten to 83 points playing that way. And I say that not to discredit at all the first quarter he had, which, as I say, was the most impressive quarter I have ever seen a Heat player have. It's just not the way they played the rest of the game, and certainly not the way they played the second half.
It's also when you talk about the guys that Jeremy was mentioning, Steph Curry, LeBron, KD, all these guys, like, they don't need to do that, right? Like, their whole thing is like, we have enough. Bam doesn't have that in his arsenal, in his trophy case. He needs an 83-point game like that.
Can we just acknowledge for the second time in NBA history that a duo was combined for over 100 points? Can we give it up for Bam Adebayo and Simone Fontecchio?